There's something in the air around Rangers just now, and if you watch that match, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Heading into this short break before the next fixture, the timing couldn't be more interesting. The split is here, Motherwell is up next, and Rangers arrive at this stage of the season riding a wave that feels properly different. That 6-3 comeback wasn't just another win. It was a statement, the kind of performance that sticks in your head and makes you think this team might be building something at exactly the right moment. Because let's be honest, not long ago, a game like that goes the other way. Rangers concede, heads drop, and suddenly it's damage limitation. But this time, it flipped completely. There was a shift, not just in tactics, but in attitude. You could see it in the way the players reacted, the urgency, the belief, the refusal to let the game drift away. 5 goals in the second half doesn't happen by accident. It comes from a side that's decided it's not settling for anything less than control. A massive part of that turnaround came down to the changes made at the break. Moving to 2 up top changed everything. The moment that adjustment happened, the entire dynamic of the match shifted. There was more presence in the final third, more aggression in the press, and far more intent every time Rangers went forward. It stretched the opposition, created space, and suddenly the game opened up in a way that completely suited Rangers. And when you look at the individuals involved, it becomes even clearer why it worked so well. Bojan Majowski stepped up in a big way, and this is exactly why he's such an important player at this stage of the season. His movement, his awareness, and most importantly, his finishing brought a cutting edge that Rangers have been crying out for. 2 goals, constant threat, and a performance that felt like he was dragging the team forward every time he got on the ball. There's a confidence about him just now, and when a striker hits that rhythm, you ride it. At the same time, there are still question marks elsewhere. Yusuf Sisik got himself on the scoresheet, but it wasn't a flawless display. There were chances in that game that, at this level, simply have to be taken. The kind of opportunities that can define matches if things are tighter. He found space, he got into the right areas, but that composure in front of goal still feels like a work in progress. And when you're chasing a title, those fine margins matter more than ever. That said, the partnership itself looked promising. Playing 2 forwards gave Majowski the support he thrives on, and it allowed Rangers to play with more variety in attack. It wasn't predictable, it wasn't easy to defend against, and it gave the midfield more options when pushing forward. It's the kind of setup that feels like it should now be the standard, especially with the fixtures coming up where every single point is going to be crucial. Then you shift your focus into midfield, and one name stands out immediately. Nicholas Raskin looked like a completely different player in the best possible way. There was energy, drive, and that willingness to take control of the game that had been missing at times earlier in the season. He wasn't sitting deep, he wasn't restricted, he was everywhere. Picking up the ball, carrying it forward, breaking lines, and adding that intensity that lifts the entire team. His goal summed it all up. It wasn't just about the finish, it was about everything leading up to it. The confidence to push forward, the strength to hold off pressure, and the decisiveness to take the shot on. That's what Rangers need from him. Not just a player who keeps things ticking, but someone who actively changes games. When Raskin plays like that, Rangers become a far more dangerous side, no question about it. And maybe that's the key takeaway from this performance. It wasn't perfect, far from it, but it showed something that goes beyond tactics or individual moments. There's a growing belief, a sense that this team is starting to understand what it takes to push through difficult situations. Instead of reacting negatively, they're responding with intent, with aggression, and with a mindset that refuses to back down. With 5 games left, that mentality could be everything. The margins are so fine at this stage of the season that one moment, one decision, or one burst of quality can decide where the title ends up. And if Rangers can carry this energy, this attacking intent, and this renewed confidence into the split fixtures, then suddenly the conversation changes entirely. As the dust settles from that incredible turnaround, attention quickly shifts to the bigger picture, and you can already feel the tension building across the city. This is the stage of the season where every word, every performance, and every small detail starts to carry extra weight. And right on cue, the noise has started from the other side, with comments designed to turn heads and maybe, just maybe, shift a bit of pressure. There's been talk suggesting that Celtic might be out of the title race, that it's now between Rangers and Hearts. But let's not kid ourselves for a second. That kind of statement doesn't come from nowhere, and it certainly isn't said without intention. It feels like classic mind games, the sort that creep in when things are still very much on the line. No one seriously believes a side with that squad, and that run of fixtures is out of anything at this point. If anything, it's an attempt to ease expectation on one side while piling it onto another. Rangers, though, have to block all of that out. Because the reality is simple. What happens next is entirely in their own hands. The fixtures coming up are demanding, no question about it, but they're also the kind of matches that define a season. Motherwell at home is first, and that's not a game anyone should be taking lightly, especially considering how organized and dangerous they've been throughout the campaign. Then come the tougher trips, the high-pressure environments, the matches where mentality becomes just as important as quality. And that's where this team will be tested properly, not just in terms of ability, but in terms of decision-making, discipline, and leadership on the pitch. Because while there were so many positives in that last performance, there were also moments that raised serious concerns. Defensively, there were lapses that simply can't be repeated if Rangers are going to go all the way. At this stage, switching off for even a second can cost you everything. There's one area in particular that continues to divide opinion, and it's becoming harder to ignore. The right side of defense has been under the spotlight, and not without reason. There were moments in that match where the defensive awareness just wasn't there, where runners weren't tracked, and where the urgency to recover simply didn't match the intensity required at this level. It's the kind of thing that might go unpunished in one game, but over the course of 5 crucial fixtures, it can be the difference between lifting a trophy and falling short. That's why selection decisions from here on out become absolutely massive. There's a strong argument for fresh energy, for players who are going to match the physical and mental demands of these final games. Consistency, reliability, and hunger have to come before reputation. Every position needs to be earned on form, not history, and that includes leadership roles within the squad. Which brings us back to the idea of responsibility on the pitch. When you look at the way Nicholas Raskin performed, it's hard not to see someone stepping into that role naturally. He's driving the team forward, setting the tempo, and showing that willingness to take control in big moments. Those are the traits you need when everything is on the line. It's not just about wearing an armband. It's about influencing the game in a way that lifts everyone around you. Beyond the immediate title race, there's also an eye on what comes next, and that's where recruitment starts to enter the conversation. Even in the middle of such an intense run-in, planning for the future never really stops. Rangers are clearly looking at areas where the squad can be strengthened, and one of the most obvious positions is out wide. The need for pace, creativity, and direct attacking threat is clear, especially against teams that sit deep and force you to break them down. That's where the link to Elijah just becomes interesting. A player who has quietly built a strong reputation, particularly with his performances in the league this season. He's the type of winger who doesn't hesitate, who wants to take players on, who looks to make things happen rather than recycle possession. That directness is something Rangers could really benefit from, especially in games where space is limited and defenses are compact. What stands out most is his versatility. While naturally operating from the right, he's comfortable drifting across the front line, finding pockets of space, and contributing in different phases of play. That flexibility gives a manager options, especially in a long season where injuries and form can constantly shift the balance. Add to that his work rate, his willingness to track back, and you've got a modern wide player who fits the demands of the game today. There's also something to be said for players who already understand the league. Adjusting to a new environment can take time, but someone who knows the pace, the physicality, and the expectations of Scottish football has a head start. It reduces the risk, increases the chances of immediate impact, and in a squad that's aiming to compete at the highest level, that kind of reliability is invaluable. As all of this unfolds, the focus can't drift too far ahead. The here and now is what matters most. 5 games remain, and every single one carries massive significance. Momentum is building, confidence is growing, but nothing has been secured yet. It's a position full of opportunity, but also one that demands absolute focus from start to finish. And when you really break it down, this is where seasons are either remembered or forgotten. Momentum is a powerful thing in football, but it can disappear just as quickly if standards drop even slightly. That's why what Rangers have built over the last couple of matches has to be protected at all costs. It's not just about winning anymore. It's about how they approach each moment, how they deal with pressure, and how they respond when things don't go their way. Because make no mistake, there will be difficult moments ahead. There will be periods in games where Rangers are tested, where the opposition grows into it, where decisions don't fall their way. That's inevitable. But what separates title-winning sides from the rest is their ability to stay locked in, to remain composed, and to find solutions without losing shape or belief. That resilience is what's starting to show, and it's something that needs to be there from the first whistle to the last in every remaining fixture. You can already sense that the players are beginning to trust the system more, especially with that attacking setup. The movement up front looks sharper, the link-up play feels more natural, and there's a better understanding of where each player needs to be in key moments. That doesn't happen overnight. It comes from repetition, from confidence, and from seeing it work in real match situations. And now that it has worked, there's no reason to move away from it. At the same time, game management becomes absolutely crucial. It's one thing to score goals and play with freedom, but it's another to control matches when it matters most. Knowing when to slow things down, when to keep possession, and when to take risks is all part of that maturity that defines top teams. Rangers showed flashes of that, but there's still room to grow, especially when protecting leads or dealing with transitions. The support will also have a massive role to play in this run-in. Ibrox becomes a completely different place when there's something on the line, when every pass, every tackle, and every attack is backed by that energy from the stands. It lifts players, it pushes them that extra yard, and in tight games, that can be the difference. You could see it feeding into the team during that comeback, that connection between the pitch and the crowd driving things forward. And as the pressure ramps up, the spotlight will only get brighter. Every performance will be analyzed, every decision questioned, and every result magnified. That's part of competing at this level, especially in a title race where there's no margin for error. But within that pressure, there's also opportunity. Opportunity for players to step up, to become the difference makers, and to write their names into a season that's building towards something big. What Rangers have right now is a chance. A real, tangible chance to take control of their own destiny. But chances don't mean anything unless they're taken, and that's the challenge that lies ahead in these final matches. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. The whispers around Rangers have grown louder, and now the noise is impossible to ignore. Word drifting through the corridors of Ibrox suggests that AMAR FATAH is set to become the club's newest arrival, a move that's already sparking debate among supporters and pundits alike. While official channels have remained tight-lipped, sources close to the situation insist the deal is as good as done. There's a sense that this isn't just another signing, but a calculated step in reshaping the squad for the challenges ahead. FATAH, still young but brimming with potential, is said to have caught the eye with his sharp movement and composure on the ball, qualities that could fit neatly into the Rangers system. Around Glasgow, the talk in pubs and on street corners has turned to what this might mean for the team's attacking options. Some reckon he could provide that spark of unpredictability, while others urge patience, mindful of the pressure that comes with pulling on the famous blue shirt. It's no small task stepping into a club where expectation weighs heavy every single match. Behind the scenes, it's believed the recruitment team have been tracking FATAH for some time, quietly assessing whether he's got the temperament to thrive in the unique atmosphere of Scottish football. The belief, it seems, is that he does. Still, until the club makes it official, there remains that lingering air of speculation. In football, deals can twist and turn in the blink of an eye. But if the murmurs prove true, Rangers may well have secured a player who could grow into something special, and perhaps, in time, become a name that echoes around Ibrox for years to come. Greetings, fans. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned.